Oh, and then my computer froze. Like, really? All right. Okay, there we go. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Sorry for the little interruption. Welcome to Java City Literary Lounge Season 2. I'm your host, Sharon Blount, and tonight I have a fan favorite and a favorite of mine. So I'm kind of fangirling still. So I want to welcome tonight award winning author Keith Thomas Walker. Welcome to Java City.
All right, thanks for having me. Like I said
Oh,
before we got online, it's always good to see you. It's really always
yeah,
good to
I
talk.
realize I haven't seen you in years, so it's really good to
Like
see you.
not face to face and not
Yeah,
virtually
nope,
either.
it's been years. Yep.
It's been a
So it's
while.
really good to see you. Yep. So it's good to see you. How are you
You're
doing this
looking good.
evening?
I'm
Thank
doing
you.
good.
All right, Angela.
Had a long day at work, but I'm home and now I'm relaxed. I'm in my
Well,
element.
I appreciate you spending time with us this evening. I'm excited. So I'm going to start with this question, and then I'm going to end with the same question. Can you tell
Okay.
us how? Can you tell everybody how can they stay connected, contact you, websites, newsletters, things like that, and tell us a little bit
Um,
about yourself. I'm sorry. Tell us a little bit about yourself, just in case people don't know who Keith Thomas Walker is.
all right. Well, I'll start with how a little bit about myself. My
Okay.
name is Keith Thomas Walker. I'm an author. I've been writing for my first book, Fixing Tyrone, came out, I think it was 2009. So it's been a couple decades. Is that 2 decades? Almost 2 decades. So it's been a while. I started out writing primarily contemporary romance, but then I branched off and started doing some urban literature, urban romances, and then I started getting into urban suspense, urban thrillers, urban mystery thriller suspenses. And then gradually, I always go back to romance.
Mm-hmm.
But then, even with all the books that I've written, romance has always been a major part of my books. But I like to explore
Mm-hmm.
different genres wrapped around a love story. So
Yep.
currently, I'm working on a detective series, which I feel like is a gradual
Mm-hmm.
progression as to where my writing was going. Still a love
Mm-hmm.
story, but
Yeah.
mostly detective. The easiest way to reach me is my name, keatthomaswalker.com. The website has links to all my sites, all my books. Everything you need to know is in that website.
All right. Thank you very much. And you guys, look, I I have been a reader for since day one, and you will not be disappointed. Now, there is a particular character he has that I don't like, right? But you still will not, you will not be disappointed. Keith's books are really good, and then you get a really great perspective from the man and woman. So you won't be disappointed with his books. If I know some readers, women particularly don't like to take a chance on a male author who write romance. His books are good. You won't be disappointed. All right.
Well, thank
Let's
you.
get into it. Yeah, it's the truth. So you ready to get into it?
I'm ready.
All right. So the first question of this evening, when did you decide to write? So I want to say I call it romantic mystery because that's how I view it. So maybe it's romantic suspense. So we're going to say
Yes.
romantic suspense and the genre particularly into African American.
I would say it's been there for as long as I've been writing because my first book, Fixing
Mm,
Tyrone, that was just
yep.
it was an urban romance. But my very
Yes.
next book was How to Kill Your Husband. So with my very next book, way back in
Mhm.
2010, I had the main character realized that her husband may be up to something nefarious, and she had to investigate this. So her life is kind of in limbo until she figures out what her husband's up to. Turns out he's got a whole
Mhm.
secret other family, but throughout that book, she had to bond with her girlfriends. Her girlfriends really had her back. They were really supportive, and she had to investigate. So they did stakeouts. I remember in that book they did stakeouts to try to follow him around, figure out what he
Yes.
was doing. So even way 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 back then, book number two, I've written. I think I'm over 40 books now. But even with book number two, the mystery
Yep.
element was something that I really appreciated. So I've been writing mysteries for a long time, just not in that specific genre. But the suspense aspect, now that's
Yeah.
been with me
Yeah.
in every single book because I love a thrill ride. I
Yes.
love a chase. I love
Mhm.
scenes that get the reader's heart running. So I love suspense. It's awesome. And when you mix
Okay.
in
So I'm going.
mystery suspense,
I'm sorry. Hmm.
I was about to say when you mix in mystery suspense, that's when it gets even more complex with the plot and the storyline.
Yeah. Okay. So I wanted to follow up on actually on that. When did you decide to do let's say beef up the mystery and like because blurred lines to me is more of a mystery. So
Yeah, Blurred
when
Lines
did you
is definitely a
decide? You know
mystery.
what? Mhm. Yeah. So when did you decide? You know what? I'm gonna just do mystery for this series.
Once again, with that, it was kind of a gradual thing. So I think the first
Hmm.
mystery that I wrote that I would actually classify as a mystery was Backslide. So in that story, we had a
Yep.
heroine who was being targeted by some gang members on her street, and they were out to kill her.
Hmm.
And one of her other neighbors, Cole, he decided he had to step in and figure out why they were after her, first of all, and then protect her. So he had to unravel a mystery in that to even figure out who's
Yep.
after her, why they after her, and what can I do to make it stop, which involved a lot of suspense, a lot of bullets, and all of that. And then Ashan Boom kind
Ooh,
of went
the
towards
cost.
the yeah. Ashan Boom was another series that I did, and it was also an urban mystery, but it was
Hmm.
more of an urban suspense. But it did have a mystery
Yeah.
element. One Night Stand also
Hmm.
had a big mystery element, so it just kept progressing. And then when I got to Blurred Lines, I thought I've been dabbling with mysteries. I really want to go all in with mystery,
Hmm.
so that's when I just threw
Okay.
the hat in for mystery and just came up with a detective, a real detective, and took it from there.
Uh-huh. Okay. And I was really surprised when I first well when I first started reading, which was from your first book, is that this is a series. Because I remember when you first came on, you was like, I don't write standalones. So I like now the write series, and there's more because when I first read the first book, Blurred Line, the first Blurred Lines, I loved it, and I knew I wanted to read more and get to know all both the lead characters. So I enjoyed the first book in the series. So I'm happy you decided to
Well,
write series.
actually, when it comes to that, I want to thank you because this is
Mhm.
it was a risky move. So when you're known for romance and you're known
Mhm.
for urban suspense and urban romance,
Mhm.
if you switch genres, sometimes you could lose your readers just like that. And you have
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
really stay true to what you want to write and hope that either A, your readers
Mhm.
will follow you regardless because they love your writing, or B, you could pick up new readers who are into that particular genre that you're writing, or both. You get the new readers plus your readers will follow you. But no, that first Blurred Lines, that was a tough book for some of my romance readers because it had the child murder in that book. And
Really?
when you yes, and when you're starting off a book and you got
Wow.
a killer that's targeting children immediately, a lot of romance readers are like, yeah, no,
Yeah.
I don't do that.
Yeah.
I do not read books like that.
No.
So it was risky.
And I
It
guess it
was
didn't.
challenging.
Yeah. Well, I just because I love a good murder mystery, I love a good suspense. I read a lot of mysteries, so it didn't bother me. So I was kind of excited to see you go into a little bit of a different direction, but I was happy to still see there was a romance element to it because I love romance. So I it didn't bother me. If to
Well,
me, if I'm a fan of your work, no matter what genre you go into, I'm going to read it because if you write good books, you can write it in any genre.
I appreciate that. And like you
So
said,
I'm
the
a
love
I'm
story, the
a
love story is always going to be the foundation for all of my
Mhm.
books. All of my books have love
Yep.
stories, regardless whatever story I wrap
Hmm.
around it. The love between a hero and a heroine is always the crucial part that holds the whole thing together.
Hmm. Yeah, and I enjoy it. What I love about your books, it's always the unlikely hero that you think they're unredeemable. I love that you redeem the unredeemable. Some people are like, well, they don't need no story or they're not a good hero, but I love that you do that with your characters. You show, hey, nobody is perfect, everybody deserves love. So I enjoy that aspect in your books.
I think that you just hit on something
All right.
that I would always tell people about my books. I love
Mm-hmm.
writing about broken characters, characters that have been through so
Mm-hmm.
much, they made so many bad decisions. The reader is like,
Yep.
this is a lost cause. And I love the redemption aspect of
Mm-hmm.
how they can be saved. And
Yeah.
usually, well, in my books, I would say 100%. It's love that saves them. It's true love. Someone who believes in them, someone who trusts
Mm-hmm.
them, someone who's willing to give them another chance to see the true person they could be.
Yeah.
So that's interesting that you mentioned redemption. No. And in
Yeah.
Blurred
And
Lines, it
that's what
was
I've always loved about
a
you.
flawed hero. It was a
Mm.
flawed heroine. So Kelly was the
Ooh,
one
now
that was in that
we're gonna have to talk
big.
about that. We got to talk about that because I was like, whoa, I have not read that before in one of your books. And I was really surprised. I said, okay, he went there. And I enjoyed that because you usually see the heroes who are really unredeemable, seemingly unredeemable. And that the fact that
And the
he
woman
was the
saves
one
them.
that, woo, yeah. So I like that aspect. So it was different for me. I enjoyed that.
All right.
It was a surprise. So I enjoyed it. All right. We're going to go. If you have, well, I want to say thank you for joining us. Welcome, Tanya. Welcome, Jennifer. Again, welcome, Angela. And I know there's a few other people. So, welcome. Come on in. If you have a comment, please put in the comment section. I promise I will get to your question or comment. All right. Once again, we are talking with award winning author Keith Thomas Walker. We are talking about his history of writing and talking about his current. We're going to start talking about his current books as well. So, our next question is being a published author everything you thought it would be? And if it's not, what was the surprise for you?
So when I first started writing, I was traditionally published, and that was
Mm-hmm.
initially everything I thought it would be. So the good things about that is you don't have to do promotions as much. They take care of all the legwork,
Mm-hmm.
and then the distribution. So it's really awesome to have the
Yeah.
distribution channels that like a major publisher would have. Your
Mm-hmm.
books would be Walmart, things like that. But with the one I was with, and I won't mention the name, they get kind of flaky sometimes with the money. And then they start hiding your royalties and not telling you about your earnings. And then, you got to go through the back and
Mm-hmm.
forth. So after about 6 books, I decided to go on my own. Going on your own has pros and cons.
Mm-hmm.
The thing I love about it the most is the control. First of all, you got full creative control. You won't have
Yeah.
an editor saying, "Hey, I don't like that you killed this character. Bring them back." And you have control over the marketing. You have control over your audience, and most importantly, you have control over your earnings. So that's the best part.
Yeah.
Um, Ultimately, like with most indie writers, which I am right now, you want to reach the point where that's your full time job.
Mm-hmm.
So until I reach that point, I'm not there yet, but I do make
Mm-hmm.
enough to where my side hustle is worth it for sure. But it's mostly worth it because it's just my passion. It's something that I love to do. So when your side hustle is something
Yeah.
that's not like a chore, not like another job, it's like something you actually
Mm-hmm.
can't wait to do. That's the best part of it.
Okay. Well, thank you. Do you think you will ever become a hybrid author? And for the people who don't know what a hybrid author, that is a traditionally and a indie publisher. Traditional publishing.
I would be willing to try that because I would like to
Mhm.
let them handle that and see how well they do with a particular title. But in the meantime, I have
Mhm.
full control over another title. And with the
Yeah.
attention that they bring me in general, it could push my indie titles up. So I would be interested in that. I don't think I would ever want to go
Okay.
back to being fully traditional publicly published.
I can understand that. After so long of being an indie published author and having control, I can understand that. But you seem to do it
But then
seamlessly to me.
again, that again.
Uh huh.
Then again,
You seem
some
to
of the stuff
do.
on the you're
I'm
breaking
sorry.
up. I seem to do
I
what?
apologize.
No, you
You
said I
seem to
seem
do
to.
indie publishing really seamlessly to me. You do it
It
really well because the
that's because
quality
it
of your books have not slipped to me.
So that's the part I was going to get into. When you get to the be in the indie stage,
I'm
you really have to be careful
sorry.
how you treat your product. And if your product is subpar compared to a traditionally published book, I would say you're doing yourself a disservice.
Yep.
So if you're editing your own books, for instance, if that's what you're doing, that's probably not a good idea. The formatting has to be on point, the way you push it out, the overall
Hmm.
package. If someone picks up a paperback that's indie published, they shouldn't be able to say, "Oh, I could tell this is self-published." They should be thinking this is similar
Yep.
to anything I picked up from Penguin Press. So I take a lot of care into
Hmm.
making that happen, and I have a good team behind me that helps with that. So I appreciate that you noticed.
Oh yeah, that is. Before I became a small time author, I say small time. That is one of the things that when I look at other, I watch really, I say distinguished authors do it because I've always been told if you're gonna do it well and
Right.
do it to your best of your abilities. So when I look at your work and when I buy your books, the paperback version, I notice you really can't tell the difference besides the sizing and it's your publishing company. So that is one of the things that I have noticed that it's just as good, if not better, because I remember that publishing company you used to be with. When I first bought that first book, it had a lot of errors. So to see doing, yeah,
Yeah.
to see you
Even
doing
publishers aren't perfect.
indie publishing. So, but you're doing it really well. So I just wanted to give you those kudos that you're doing it really well.
Thank
To be an indie publisher, you're not taking those shortcuts, and that is the biggest point of not taking those shortcuts. Shortcuts are easy, but you will pay for it in the long run.
you. That
So
is
thank you for that
100% true.
advice. Welcome, Tony.
And I
Yep,
agree with what
welcome, Tony.
Antoinette says. You're
And
not a small time author.
oh, well, thank you. You guys are being kind, so I appreciate it. All right. Are you ready for the next question?
Yeah.
All right. And I'm sorry there seems to be a lag. So I do apologize. I'm not sure what's going on. All right. So let's get into your new series that you have out. Tell us more about Blurred Lines. I know you told us a little bit about why you went into writing that. Can you tell us a little bit about the characters and the setting and a little bit of why of the particular the word is there, but it kind of flew out my mind because my son walked by naked, and I'm so
I
happy you
get
guys
it.
can
I can
see him.
respond to your. Let me respond to the
Thank
chat
you.
first. Tanya, yes, I was an English teacher for 6 years. I'm currently an assistant principal. I went back and got my master's, got my principal certification. So this is my second year as assistant principal in West Side, Dallas. And hopefully, maybe even over the summer, I could get my own school and be the principal of a school. I don't know what that's going to do to my writing because writing a book as an assistant principal is extremely difficult. But that's the natural progression of my career. So yes, but English has always been my passion. I love even back in grade school, I was writing short stories and poems, and by the time I got to middle school, I was winning contests, short story contests, essay contests. Just writing, writing, writing. So yeah, I love writing, and when I got into teaching, I wanted to put that passion of writing into my students. So I was teaching English
Mhm.
2, which is in Texas a STAR tested subject. They got to write an essay. So trying to get my love for reading and writing, push that into the students was something that I was actually pretty successful with. But back to your question, Miss Blunt.
That's
Um,
okay. Thank you for answering, Keith. I
well, no, I'm
appreciate it.
reading the chat. So when I decided
Okay, okay.
when I decided to get into a true murder mystery, I won't say that it came easy that first book.
Mm,
That first book, I had to do a lot of research. I had to do a lot of background stuff, and most people don't know how hard I research. And my research takes on a lot of different types of avenues. So for Blurred Lines, the first one, I knew I wanted to write a
mm,
detective novel for sure. I knew I wanted to have a love story for sure, but I also wanted to make sure that it would be accurate but not overwhelming with
gotcha.
like details that are boring. But I didn't want
Mm,
any, let's say, a forensic pathologist to pick up my book and be like, that's not how it happens. So I
Yeah,
watched. This may be funny. I watched Forensic Files. I watched like 3 episodes a night, literally for a year. I'm not even kidding you. And I learned
I
a
love
lot.
that.
But then I had to find out about the police station, the detectives, the
Hmm.
rankings, the sergeant. All the way from the chief all the way down to the street cop. I had to make sure all the ranks were right because I wouldn't want anybody ordering
Okay.
somewhere around that wasn't next in command. But all of that stuff, once I got all of that in my head and I felt like, okay, I got a grasp on detective work, then I wanted to come up with my heroine.
Hmm.
So that's when I already knew who Damien was going to be, and I knew what he was going to do, and I knew he was going to be like the top detective in the city for sure.
Uh,
But who was he going to pair with?
hmm.
So that's when I came up with Kelly. So Kelly, that first book,
Man.
it was very difficult for me to write
Woo.
from her perspective because she experienced something no mother should ever have to experience.
I'd imagine.
And when I decided,
Hmm.
okay, this is going to be her plight, and this is going to be where Damon steps in to help her, I knew that it was going to be difficult because sometimes when I was writing, I'm a masculine guy, but I would get
Hmm.
misty just thinking about what she's experiencing because I
Yeah.
want to experience that. I want to feel her emotions. That way I could pour it out into the page. So as I'm writing her
Okay.
scenes and I'm writing about her loss and writing about how she's coping with it, which the way she decided to cope with it, some people may think was absolutely the wrong way to do it. But I wanted her to be that character. I wanted her to be strong. I wanted her to be fierce. I wanted her to be deadly if
Hmm.
necessary. I wanted her to go as far as she
Yep.
wanted to go after what happened to her. That's the thing about Kelly that
Yeah.
okay, so those two things some readers found a little hard to get over. One, what she was going through. Two, the way she decided to go get it, get out, get
Handle
into
it.
it. Yeah. So, but I feel like I pulled it
I
off.
love
She
that
did what
part.
she had to do, and I'm not gonna put any spoilers. She did what
Yep.
she had to do. She ended up dragging Damien into it, and when I was thinking about the
Woo.
plot, that's when I came up with the title, Blurred
Uh-huh.
Lines. So the blurred lines has a
Okay.
double meaning. First, Damien blurred the line between professionalism when he fell in love with a grieving mother, so he blurred the line there. But
Yeah.
also, he blurred the line with between being a police officer and a vigilante because he's supposed to be top cop.
Yeah.
The things he got involved with blurred the lines there. So that's why I
Yeah.
came up with the title Blurred Lines. And when I wrote the first
Mhm.
book, I titled it The Monster because that's what they called that particular killer. But I was thinking if I really want to push it, and
Mhm.
after the first book, I decided at that moment I could literally write 20 of these, if not 30. So each book is a different killer,
Please do.
and each that's why each book has a different subtime. So I
Hmm.
got Blurred Lines, the monster.
Yeah.
The second one was Blurred Lines, cop
Hmm.
killer, and the third one was Blurred Lines, copycat killer. And each one is a different killer.
Yeah.
So far, they're all serial killers. I don't know if each one's going to still be a serial killer, but apparently in
Yeah.
Overwood Meadows, they have a surplus of serial killers.
There are a whole bunch of serial killers, right?
Just three
But
so far.
and yeah, what I liked from the first book, right, that you really got in the head, in the mind of that killer, and I was like, oh, he went there. I love that you really got. I don't know why, but I love when you get into the thoughts of the person who's the killer because you know he's the villain, he's unlikable, but you want to know what pushed them to that to do what they're going to do. So I really love that you went into because he had me shaking a little bit. I was like, "Woo," because you
That was
know what he did.
that was really important to me because
Mm,
I didn't want it to be just Damon and Kelly and all these cops. I really wanted the killer
mm,
side to be told. Even though he's a horrible person,
yeah,
everything he's doing is ass
yeah,
backwards and god awful and completely wrong. I do want the reader to know
yeah,
how he does it. So that
yeah.
lends itself that's actually a very interesting mystery tool. So you got the killer. The reader knows who he is. The reader knows where he is. The reader knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
But now you got to see if Damien could learn the things that the reader already knows. So that's actually a tricky part of mystery. That
Hmm.
I thank you for mentioning that. That was a really good thing to add into the book.
Yeah, I was like, wow, this I love mysteries. So for me, I was like, this I like that. You didn't just give it a one dimensional story. To me, it became like I was in the story because I got it from everybody's angle, from her, from him, and then from the killer. And sometimes you get that from some mysteries, and sometimes you don't. But I really like that you get into. It doesn't make them likable. You just got to know how you get to know how crazy they are. Like what pushed them to do
Right.
this? How did they get there? So you give them a good to me, and I don't want to give it too much away. You give a great story about how he got there. So you did really good.
Yes.
I enjoyed it, even though it was a hard to read. You know what he was going to do. It was still very interesting to read about it.
And I really liked in that first book when Kelly and the killer finally interacted. That scene will forever be one of my favorite scenes. The way they
Mhm.
interacted, and I'm gonna leave it at that. The way they
Yeah.
interacted once they finally were able to interact.
Oh yeah, she's bad. She's badass to me. I like her. So as a mother, all gloves are off. So while we're into that question, let's roll into the next one. So this is for me in particular. Tell us about the heroine. Even though you gave us a little glimpse a little bit before, can you tell us about Kelly? And this is from the first book. This is not number two or three. This is from the first book. We want you to go, if you have not read it, go pick it up by a friend, a cousin. Tell them about
All right,
it. All
so
right.
Kelly, this is where life imitates ours. Kelly was a
Mm-hmm.
school teacher. She is a school teacher. She
Yeah.
was an elementary school
Mm-hmm.
teacher. And after the tragic incident with her daughter, it turns out that the she had an alarm system in her home, but due to the faulty alarm system that allowed her daughter to be abducted, she actually won a
Mm-hmm.
settlement. So this whole settlement idea actually is part of a story that I've heard where ADT was involved with some guy going
Mm-hmm.
around putting cameras up in people's houses, and he was actually
Yep.
keeping the code so he could record what they were doing.
Yes.
Anyway,
Yep.
ADT had ended up paying a ton of people a lot of money. So I wanted her to be have the latitude to do what she was doing, and the ADT settlement served as that. So she's a millionaire,
Mm-hmm.
but she's a very unhappy millionaire. But
Yeah.
with the money that she has, she's able to not go to work if she chooses to. She's able to buy all the things she needs to do investigations on her own if she chooses to.
Mm-hmm.
And she's still very single, and she's still very lonely at times. And she comes off as a with a rough interior, but when Damien and her interact, you see her soft side. You see that she is
Yeah.
actually caring. She's capable of loving. She's capable of falling in love and loving someone back. So she's a multifaceted character for sure. She's an extremely complicated character. But as the books progress, you get to see more and more of her soft side, more of her romantic side. But you never lose
Mm-hmm.
the toughness. She's always tough. She's always going to be standing up for herself and ready to defend herself and later defend her man if need be.
All right. See, what I like about Kelly is she is something that we all say, no, someone do something to my child, I'm gonna do whatever, whatever. She was like, y'all talk it, but I'm gonna show you how to do it. So I was like, whoa, yeah. So Kelly was my favorite character of that book, just because she wasn't that weeping heroine instead of just totally falling apart at the seams, and which she does kind of, but she was like, oh no. She thought about, okay, I don't want to give everything away, but I really liked her because everything she did was very thought out. Even when you think
Yes, for
she
sure.
wasn't thinking about it, it was very thought out.
She was extremely meticulous, extremely
Yes.
conniving and crafty, and she's a, and the other thing I like about Kelly is even though she's
Mm-hmm.
got no formal training, she proves that
Mm-hmm.
she's as adept to being a detective just like Damien. So they have that parallel where they both have this similar skill set, and
Mm-hmm.
that plays out more and more as the books progress as well.
Oh yeah. Yeah, very intelligent. You did a really great job with Kelly, in my opinion. All right. If you have any, I want to say thank you for joining us tonight. I am talking with award winning author Keith Thomas Walker. We are now talking about his current series, Blurred Lines. And if you have a comment or a question, please feel free to put it into the comment section. I promise me or Keith will read your question. Thank you for joining us this evening. And we're almost done with some of the Q&A. And then we're going to have a little fun with a game of Would You Rather. And you know, I always like to keep it kind of hard. So let's move into the next question. All right. Who is your favorite character in this series, Blurred Lines? I'm sorry.
Much as I love Kelly, I'm gonna have to go with Damien only because of his strength, and I really like his progression. So in the first book, he is a
Mm-hmm.
homicide detective, but he's not like ranking. He's just a homicide detective. But as the books progress and he shows off how his prowess, his detective skills, he begins to get more recognition.
Mm-hmm.
He gets promoted, and the way he becomes a leader in the force later in the series, not necessarily in book one, but in book one, that's when
Mm-hmm.
you first see him break this big case. So when he breaks that big case, everybody's looking at him now like, okay, so was that a fluke or
Mm-hmm.
you really that dude? So when I
Yeah.
write about Damien, in the back of my mind, I'm always thinking about Alex Cross because Alex Cross is that dude as well. So yeah, Damien is
Yeah.
the character that I want
Mm-hmm.
him to be larger than life. I want him to be everything. I want him to be mysterious, amazing, conniving, just smart, rough, tough, ready to get down, ready to shoot it out, whatever he needs to do. So he's my favorite character.
Okay. I like that. And this is not a question I have on here, but if, you know, someone decides to pick up your movie, make a movie out of Blurred Lines, who do you see playing Damien? Any famous actors?
That's a hard one for me. Let me answer Tanya.
I
Tanya, Blurred
know.
Lines 1, 2, and 3. Blurred Lines 3 just came out this in April. So Blurred
Mm-hmm.
Lines is out
April.
already. Yeah. And I'm up to book 3. And then about a few weeks, I'm going to start book 4. Um, I would like
Ooh,
somebody like Idris Elba, but younger. And I can't. Oh, well, not Michael B. Jordan.
what's
Well,
his
Michael B.
name?
Jordan
What
will
is
be
they
the.
got a younger?
I can see Michael B.
Yeah,
Jordan playing Damien.
it's Elba. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, I can see that.
Idris.
I can see that. I like that.
I like him. Yeah.
No, it's another
And I
one.
just watched The Wire.
It's a younger one with that same name. Yeah, him. Yep, yep, yep. I think he would do great. Thank you. All right, last question before we get into the game.
Okay.
All right. Can you? No, no. This is not the. This is not the last one. We're talking, and I'm going all over the place. So please forgive me. When you are writing a new book, can you write without a working title or a cover?
Maybe a cover, but definitely not a title. I cannot write without a title, a
Okay.
synopsis, somewhat of an outline. I need to know where I'm going. I've never been one of those types that'll just write.
Yep.
And I'm type A, so that probably plays into it. But I would never, me personally,
Mm-hmm.
I would never get midway through a book and think, where am I going? That's never going to happen with me. I already know. What will change
Got
though?
you. Got you.
Sometimes I'll let the characters take
Mm-hmm.
over and do what they want to do, but it'll still fit. I'll just
Mm-hmm.
change parts, but ultimately we're going to end where I thought we are going to end before I started.
Got you. Got you. Yeah, I'm like that too. I gotta have a title. I'm like, God, you guys are good to be able to do all that without titles, and you can keep going. Like, all right. So thank you for sharing that with us. So this is our last question for the night. Can you give us a sneak peek on sneak peek of what's next in your writing journey? Because I know you gave a hint that there's going to be a Blurred Lines for 4, so I'm excited about that. So can you give us a little bit?
Yeah, so the first one, Blurred Lines, the monster, that's the killer of those girls who actually targeted Kelly's daughter. The second one was Cop Killer.
Mm-hmm.
So in Blurred Lines Cop Killer, one of the detectives actually gets killed, and they initially labeled him as a cop killer because obviously he killed a cop, but they realize he's actually much more than that.
Mm-hmm.
In the third book, I have a killer called the Bleeder. So the Bleeder is a serial killer, and I can say this because it's on the back of the book. He's actually targeting
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people. So he's another serial killer, but at the same
Mm-hmm.
time, Damien starts to suspect that there's two people doing these killings. So that's why I actually entitled the third one "Copycat
Ah,
Killer." The fourth book
got
is
you.
gonna
Got you.
be a continuation of book three for sure. And I can't tell you about the fourth book
Okay.
unless I tell you
Okay.
how the book three ends.
Okay. I got that. No problem. But I'm excited that there is a fourth book in the series. Are you are you ever going to go back to romance? Like
Well, the
real
romance
like
that's in the series is actually, I think it's
mm,
still a lot. So whenever anybody in my school asks to read
mm,
one of my books, I'll always give them whatever I just finished. So I will give them Blurred Lines, and I'm thinking this is not a romance, and they
okay.
would come back, oh my god, I can't believe you wrote that. That scene was so hot, and so I still have that in there. It's still in. So even with Damon and Kelly,
Yeah.
if they have a love scene, it just gets away with me, and I don't even think
Yeah.
I'm doing too much because I really felt like I toned it down, but the reaction I get, they make it seem like I was still writing a Zane scene, and I'm like, it was nowhere near that bad. But so the romance is still there. It's just wrapped around a
Mhm.
mystery and a killer and a bunch.
What a mystery.
But trust me,
Hmm.
the romance is never
Yep.
left. Tanya, yeah, all of the
Oh,
books
that's
are titled Blurred Lines, but they all have subtitles. So Blurred Lines, the monster, Blurred Lines, cop killer, Blurred Lines, copycat killer. Those are the three. But yeah, they're a series.
okay. Thank you, Tanya, for asking a question. So I want to say thank you, Keith. We are now entering into I like this part because it's the fun element. We're gonna play Would You Rather. And again, if you have any questions, go ahead and ask. Are you ready to play this with us? And you can join in. Please put your answers inside the comments. So you ready to play with us, Keith?
I'm ready.
All right. So now, would you rather? Now, let's say you're going to do a whole new trope, right? So, would you rather write reverse harem or harem, but or a mafia romance?
Definitely a mafia romance. Easy one for me. I gotta have some bullets flying.
Okay, I like that. I can
I need
see
some
that.
people
All
to get
right.
shot up.
Okay. All right. I'm not mad at it. See, but then number two might be easy. So, would you rather have Will Smith or Idris Elba play the hero in Blurred Lines?
Yeah, definitely Aegis. And not only because I've mentioned him before,
Yeah.
but I still don't know if I forgave Will
Mhm.
for that slap. That was a little, yeah.
I know, but I still love him. But I'm like, dude, yeah,
I do too,
I
but
get it.
I just I,
I
I
get
cannot
it.
financially
All right.
support him anymore.
Yeah, I'm not mad at it because
Well, then again, I
I,
went and saw Blurred
no
Lines
man,
4,
I
so
get it.
you know what? I did see Blurred Lines. So I take that back. I did financially support him, and it was a really good movie. It
Oh,
was a
Bad
little
Boys
like
first. Bad Boys.
Bad Boys. I'm sorry, I said Blurred Line. Bad Boys 4.
No,
I'm
that's what
stuck
I'm
on my
like. Wait
book.
a minute.
So
Wait a minute.
yeah,
There's a
I
movie.
did
No,
financially support him after the slap, but
yeah,
yeah, it's still in the back of my mind. I still looking him side eye.
yeah. I think we will for a long time, or if forever, to be quite honest. Okay, are you ready for the next one?
Yes, and Tanya, thank you
All
so much
right.
for that
If you
comment.
are in legal, oh, she is so sweet. So, if you are in legal trouble, which fictional TV character, would you like to defend you? Claire Huxtable or Maxine Shaw?
That's a hard one because I
I
think
know.
Maxine actually them nails. She'll pull out them nails. I feel like she'll go harder in the paint. So I think I'd rather have Maxine
Maxine
Shaw,
Shaw.
attorney at law. And plus, I had a big crush
All
on her way
right.
back in the day.
All right, Maxine Shaw. Yeah. Oh, she's gorgeous. And she's
Yeah.
still gorgeous at that.
Yes.
Maxine Shaw, attorney at law. All right. So next one. Who Now, this is just because I want to be messy, right? All right. Who is the best lyricist? Kendrick Lamar or J. Cole?
J. Cole. He, lyric. Oof. Oh,
They
okay.
both
So
good.
I would say J. Cole still. I think Kendrick is definitely
Okay,
more
okay.
commercially successful. He definitely knows. Yeah, but I think overall J. Cole is a better lyricist.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh God, he is. I think people sleep on him a lot. So yeah, I agree with that. So our last question for tonight. Would you rather, and since this is a coffee show, so would you rather go to Starbucks or Dunkin' Donut? No matter what you get. It should be coffee though.
I would Starbucks. I gotta go with the franchise. Starbucks for sure.
Starbucks. All right. Uh-oh. She said Jasmine Crockett. All right. I love it. Thank you for playing this game with us tonight. And we have a giveaway. And all you have to do is put a number between 1 and 10 in the comments. And the first person that is closest to the magic number, you win a prize. All right. And while we wait for this, Keith, can you please tell us in 3 words, describe your books and writing style?
In 3 words,
Well, it could be
uh,
20, but I was trying not to put so much pressure on you.
um, romance, suspense, mystery,
And what was the last one?
mystery, romance, suspense,
Mystery.
mystery.
Okay,
Yeah,
I can see that. And I think that sums up your writing. I
that sums up my
I know it.
genres.
So
But
I oh
romance, as I mentioned, is always important.
yeah.
Nothing works without the love story.
Hmm. That is true. And I got a question, fangirl question, right? Because I think I always ask you about this book, right? Because it's my favorite of yours. Will you please write Harlot 2?
I could definitely write
I love
Harlot
that.
too. I could write a Harlot too because I'm curious
Really?
as to what she's been up to at
Really?
the time. I could pull it. It'd have to be a
Me
different
too.
Harlot though.
Okay.
It'd have to be a different Harlot
Yeah, yeah. So
because I can't go back and
if you
unredeem my
guys have
Harlot.
not, yeah,
Hey,
I
somebody
really
guessed the
love
number
that.
exact.
I love that aspect. I know they did. You like to
Wait,
announce the
wait,
winner?
wait. What's up? I don't know. Should we give it to her because she guessed twice? According to the
Oh,
chat, it
did
looks like
she?
she guessed twice.
Let me go look. I wasn't paying attention, but I was
But
over here being. Mine won't go
even with the first
up.
guess, I
Can yours
think
go
she
up,
was
Keith? Mine,
tied. Don't worry about it. I'm looking at it. Even with the first guess, she was still the
okay.
closest. She was tied though.
Yeah, mine won't move. Okay, who was
It's
that?
gonna be Jennifer Copeland and
Mine will
Tanya
not
Brown
go
River.
up for
They
some reason.
both guessed 5, but then Tanya came back and
Okay,
doubled up and guessed
okay,
7. So she guessed it on the dot. So I would
okay,
say I got 2 winners.
okay.
That's
So would you?
Jennifer and Tanya.
Okay.
So I would
Well,
like if either one
congratulate
of
her
you have
and
not,
Tanya.
I think if either one of you have not started my series, I want to get you started. And if you have already started, I want to get you caught up. So I can either gift you the first ebook or paperback if you want an autographed copy, or I can gift you whatever ebook you need to catch up or an autographed copy if you prefer paperback. But either way, I want you to start this series or continue this series, and I can get you that head start. So let me know how you want to
You.
proceed. I will take care of it.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much for your generosity, Keith. Tanya and Jennifer, please, you can email me, no, text me, and then I'll give Keith your information. And congratulations on your win tonight. Thank you for your generosity, Keith. That was sweet of you. That was kind of you. And I want to say thank you once again for not just supporting me, but supporting my book club for all the years. If you guys do not know, Keith was the first author who did a book chat with Brad in 2000. nine, I believe. Was it six? No, six, 2009. So thank you for your
Way back.
continued support. We are 21 years this year strong with Brab. So thank you so much for your support and congratulations on all your success in your writing. And I'm looking forward to more of your books. And before we go, remember I said we're gonna start with this question and end with this question. Let us know how we can stay connected and contact you, your newsletters if you have one.
Okay, so my website, keithomaswalker.com, is the best place to go to get any info about anything I'm doing. And I want to encourage you, if you're not on my mailing list, to go to the contact page and give me your email. I will only reach out to you when I have a brand new book. So I will never spam you. I don't do newsletters. I only reach out like, hey, got a new book out, and that's it. So go to my website, check it out, and also join my contact list if you're not already there.
All right. Thank you once again. Thank you again. Sorry, I'm a little nervous. I don't know why, because I wasn't nervous until right now. Thank you guys once again for joining season 2 of Java City Literary Lounge. Um, I appreciate all the support. Also, every time you see an author, sit in the chair, building relationships around books and our awards, the Reading Warriors Choice Awards. So if you would like to sponsor, please email me, BRAB online, so brabonline at gmail.com. Thank you very much. Stay tuned next week and we will have another special guest. Thank you once again, Keith Thomas Walker, and you have a great evening, everybody.
All right, thank
Bye
you.
bye.
Have a good evening.
You too. Me. Bye. All right. Uh oh. It said okay.